The scene shifts to the next day, where we see Ryuk's parents entering a huge building. The director warmly welcomes them and thanks them for coming from so far away. Ryuk's dad shakes hands with the director and thanks him for inviting them to the studio. The director then looks at the child actor with a smile and asks if he's doing well. Meanwhile, as Ryuk's teeth started coming in, he began speaking more than before, even calling out to the director. Seeing this, the director was shocked. Ryuk had become much more vocal. His mother calmly explained that Ryuk had reached the age where he was starting to speak fluently. She mentioned that he babbled all day long, constantly trying to have strange little conversations with his parents. Hearing this, the director was pleased. He thought now they could start giving him longer dialogues. And that's exactly what Ryuk wanted, because he knew that if he could smoothly deliver long dialogues, his payment would increase. Internally, he was laughing to himself, thinking, soon he would be able to speak any line perfectly, like a professional. Even the director started to feel impressed by Ryuk's development, so he invited his parents to take a seat. They began discussing things, and the director explained that he wanted to produce a new program with Ryuk as the main lead. The show was called Just Baby, a childcare variety show featuring a famous 5-member idol group alongside Ryuk. But before the director could even finish his sentence, Ryuk's parents were shocked upon hearing the name of the idol group, and just then, a blonde-haired boy introduced himself as Young, the leader of Just Group. Ryuk's mom immediately started blushing upon seeing him. Smiling, Young cheerfully told them he was excited to work with them. Then, he removed his mask, and just like that, his energy filled the entire room. His mesmerizing aura completely captivated Ryuk's mom. After all, she was already a huge fan of Just Group. On the other hand, Ryuk's dad was utterly confused about what was happening. Young quickly noticed that Ryuk's mom was already familiar with their group. Her eyes sparkled as she told Young that she had seen him on TV multiple times, and thought he was an amazing performer. Hearing this, Young blushed a little and smiled, saying that they still had a lot to learn, but they were working day and night to become the nation's top idol group. He politely requested Ryuk's mom to keep supporting them. With confidence, Ryuk's mom assured him that with their flawless singing and dancing, he and his team would soon become big names in the idol scene. But at that moment, something unusual was happening on the other side. Ryuk was surprised to see that his dad was getting jealous, wondering why his wife was so interested in another guy. Ryuk knew that jealousy was a weird thing, and he hoped his dad would snap out of it soon. But before anything else could happen, the director brought the conversation back on track. He explained that once filming began, the parents would also get a chance to meet the rest of the idol members. The moment she heard this, Ryuk's mom got even more excited, already imagining when she'd finally get to meet them. However, a sudden realization hit her. She wasn't here for herself, but for her child. She started worrying that this show might put too much pressure on Ryuk. Seeing her concern, Ryuk felt deeply emotional. He promised himself that he would never forget his mother because she chose him over her favorite idol. Even the director seemed slightly concerned, but one thing was certain, Ryuk was the key to this show's success. By now, the director was convinced. Ryuk understood everything happening around him. His expressions were naturally clear, and he handled the camera perfectly. Because of this, the director couldn't even imagine anyone else as the main star of Just Baby. He turned to Ryuk and asked what he thought about the show. But before he could even finish the question, Ryuk had already shouted out in excitement. He knew this was something he absolutely had to do. At that moment, a memory from his past life resurfaced. He had seen the show before. It was a unique concept, a child and an idol group together, capturing the hearts of the audience with its fresh approach. After all, everyone loves cute babies. There's no doubt about that. People were charmed by the sight of idols struggling to take care of a baby. Audiences of all ages enjoyed the show, some reminiscing about their parenting days, while others imagining what it would be like to become parents themselves. Slowly, this show became a national sensation, setting a new trend for childcare reality shows, making the producers a fortune. Ryuk knew this show was perfect for his goals, to earn tons of money and become a superstar child actor. Excitedly, he banged the table, calling the director repeatedly. The director immediately understood. Ryuk was completely ready for this project. On the other hand, his father was a little worried. He told the director that if Ryuk kept appearing on TV, he wouldn't grow up like a normal kid. He didn't want his son to become just a money-making tool. The director got a little tense, wondering how to handle the situation. That's when Young spoke up. He understood the father's concern and explained that he was once a child actor too. Being on TV and always under the public eye wasn't easy, but he never regretted it because he got the right platform to showcase his talent. and that's why he had reached where he was today? Young reassured them if Ryuk ever felt like he didn't want to do this anymore, he could leave the show anytime without any issues. The director also encouraged the father, saying that if his son wanted to shine, they shouldn't hold him back. The father looked at Ryuk, who appeared far more talented and charismatic than other kids his age. Eventually he agreed, and everyone celebrated. The father shook hands with the director, telling him to take good care of his son. Young also clapped to celebrate their success. And just like that, the planning for the first ever childcare reality show, Just Baby, was finalized. The first shoot date was set, and everyone got busy signing contracts and preparing for the concept filming. Finally, the big day arrived. The studio was filled with cameras being set up, and the talented teenage idols were introduced one by one. First came the group leader, Young, then the second member, Lucas. Next was Yun, the one with pink hair. The fourth member was Cyan, and lastly, there was Michael, who had a mischievous smile on his face. Ryuk's mother was mesmerized by all of them since she had always seen them on TV. The idols respectfully greeted Ryuk's parents. Suddenly, Yun ran up to Ryuk's mother, excitedly asking if she was a fan of their group. Ryuk's mother was completely flustered, and, as expected, his father's jealousy shot through the roof. Meanwhile, Ryuk was enjoying, watching his father's hilarious expressions. That's when the director grabbed everyone's attention, announcing that the filming would take place at Just Idol Group's dormitory. The channel had high hopes for this show, so everyone had to give their best. From the very first day, everything was spectacular. The idol group asked the director for the script, but they were shocked to find out that this show had no script. It was all going to be natural. Ryuk started recalling things from his past life. He remembered that Young and Cyan had connections to his previous corporate life. He had never paid much attention to them before, but now that these memories were resurfacing, he was shocked. Suddenly, Ryuk heard a strange voice behind him. It was Michael, taunting him, saying, "What are you even doing here? You're not even cute." Michael was an extremely arrogant guy, and he tried to touch Ryuk. But Ryuk didn't like being touched without permission, so he quickly smacked Michael's hand away, angrily thinking, "How dare he touch me so carelessly?" Young immediately stepped in and scolded Michael, explaining that before touching a young child, one should always wash and sanitize their hands. Even Ryuk's father looked a little surprised and asked his son if he was okay, but Ryuk already knew Michael. He recalled that in his previous life, Michael had also been a troublemaker, an annoying Korean-American guy who always created unnecessary drama. That's when Ryuk made up his mind. He would take complete control of the show and shape every character's narrative to his advantage. With a sweet smile, Ryuk charmed everyone, except Michael. But deep down, Michael was plotting something else. He smirked and thought to himself, "Just wait. Let's see what happens next."